Good morning and welcome to a Manic Monday. I have no idea what the hell I just witnessed this weekend. It was crazy. But with me, as
I'm
always,
doing
I've got
great.
Dio, Corey, Rodney, and Chris. How you guys doing?
I have no idea. I'm
Yeah.
still waking
Sad
up.
Steelers fan here, so take it for what you will.
Hey,
Yeah.
we're in the same boat.
I
And
think
Birdie's
All
Even
our
there
the
too.
teams
Pies beat
lost.
All of our teams lost.
even
We
the
all
Pies
lost this
beat our
weekend. It was
college
a bad
teams.
weekend for all of us.
Theo.
We went
So
down
before
like
we,
yep.
$8 horrors.
Bye week
I
university.
did. That's right.
Damn.
so
That's a good school.
there is a lot to get into today, and most of what I want to get into is the NFL. Just being real, there was so many crazy things yesterday. I was just writing and writing and writing. But before we do that, let's get into some Pee Wee football because there are some interesting things afoot, right? And we can start with Steve Sarkisian possibly going to the Titans, but look at the carousel that is going around in the SEC. We lost another one, and Brian Kelly. Brian, what in the world are they doing
He gone.
down there?
You know
He's going to
what?
Florida State.
Probably.
Honestly,
You're number one, by the way.
This is video though. This will
we
be on
got
YouTube.
the edit. Anyway, what I was gonna say is in the beginning of the off season, when I first met all y'all,
That's
I
awesome.
said
Sorry.
Brian Kelly was on the hot seat. I Everybody's like, oh, he's got the team. This is their team to win it all this year. What have they done? I mean, that's why he's out. I mean, think about it. He's never really performed to the big standard. I mean, I saw a video on TikTok the other day, and they were talking about Les Miles, Ed Orgeron, and I forget the other coach there. But anyway, they had winning records and won at least one SEC championship and one national title. What have you done for me lately, Brian Kelly?
That's the thing. Brian Kelly, even at Notre Dame, he just seemed like he couldn't win a big one. And then he goes to an SEC school where if they're conditioned to win, and if you don't win, you're gone. He wasn't, and he did have a winning record, but his losses, they weren't little losses like Saturday. I mean, as put it in Brandon's terms, those his losses are mollywoppings.
Yeah, LSU
This
got
is
mollywopped.
exactly this is exactly why, and I'm gonna give Franklin a little bit of a compliment here. He's a he's a more reserved
Uh,
coach. I think he commands the program better than Brian Kelly. I think people have a little bit more respect for James Franklin in that aspect because Brian Kelly is a narcissist. That guy is just he's so full of himself, and he can't even see his errors of how he coaches. He never learns from anything. And the thing about it is, both of these coaches are very similar, James Franklin and Brian Kelly. And that's what these universities need to be looking at. You know what you're going to get with Brian Kelly. He took Notre Dame to a certain level, and they stayed there. And then, oh, we're 12-0. Here comes Alabama in the national championship game, and that was not a national championship game. That was a
A
looked like
mollywopping.
a scrimmage. Yeah, it just Alabama came to play, and Notre Dame was just happy to be there. You know what I mean? And that was a terrible national championship for college football fans. And it goes to show you that that's as far as Brian Kelly can get. LSU should have known that when they brought him down there because they were thinking we're going to get all this talent in here, and he's going to be able to deliver. He can't because he doesn't have full command of that program, and that's the downside of him. I compare it to NASCAR. All those cars are very similar. Okay, they're almost identical. Every engine, every aerodynamic, every car is the same.
Nowadays.
But it's the driver and the pit crews that make the difference. You know, like I said, you can have two identical cars, but it's always going to be the better driver or the better team behind that car. And that's the problem with Brian Kelly, and that's the problem with James Franklin. They're only going to take you so far, and they plateau,
Well, you
and
know,
that's all they are. So I would be very weary of both of those coaches. I could see Brian Kelly going to UCLA. I could see James Franklin trying to go into UCLA for the fact that they want to get back into the Big Ten type style and show people, oh, we do belong here. We can win. It's not going to happen. I wouldn't touch
So
Brian Kelly at all. James Franklin, I would go with him if I had to pick between those two coaches right now, just based on their records against good teams. I would take James Franklin. That's all I got to say about those two guys.
All right.
so people are gonna
This.
say what? Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. I mean, basically, he got the Tyrannosaurus splat. Let's just be honest. Hey, I'm trying different ones, Brandon. I hope you like that one. All right.
I like that
Um,
one. Transforce flat. I like it.
all right. One of the most overrated coaches in the NCAA, in my opinion, over the last 10, 15 years is Kelly.
What?
I know you're gonna disagree with me, and I hope so. Prove me wrong. Anytime he tries to get anywhere, he chokes. When he was with Notre Dame, he had athletes there, and he should have done a lot better. Yeah, I know he played in a national championship game, but did he have his team show up? I don't know, because that was fugly. That was a fugly game. Let's just be honest there. Now, this year at LSU, I don't know what's going on. I think he lost the locker room like before the season even started. And you can't do that as a head coach. That just shows that you're weak and that you are overrated, in my opinion. And if you can't control that locker room, and control's different, it's all a psychological game at that juncture and at that point, being able to get these guys to meld together, to work together, to play together, even with the new NIL. It doesn't matter. Okay. He obviously didn't do it, and he lost him. I want to say even last year,
I want to
but
address
that's just
some.
my opinion on that.
Go ahead, Corey.
you know, with the coaches nowadays, there's a lot of coaches that can recruit. Brian Kelly can recruit. Um, James Franklin can recruit. You know, to an extent, Steve Sarkisian can recruit. Lincoln Riley can recruit. But those guys I'm naming have a hard time. They recruit these athletes that are top of the line, but it doesn't parlay to
You're
the
right.
field. They can get that top
I
talent,
do.
but it's like they can't coach that top
Yep.
talent.
I agree.
So one of the things that they're going to look at when it comes to Brian Kelly, and I've kind of sold myself on that he's probably going to end up in Penn State because of what he did in Notre Dame. And I agree with you, Chris, on the fact that he underperformed with an extreme amount of talent. He is the Zach Taylor, the Kevin Stefanski of this world, and I'll 100% agree with that. Where I'm going to disagree is he's a linebacker, play defense. What do they do in the Big Ten? Play defense.
And
It's
yeah,
all defense, not much offense. So I think Brian Kelly's going to end up at Penn
You
State.
know, I don't know where
interesting.
Brian
That's
Kelly's going to
interesting. I
end
know
up,
Hot Rod had a take.
but I want to go back to something Chris said about Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly should have been gone almost 2 years ago because there was a video. Let me finish what I'm saying. I agree.
He's only
Or
been there
within
4
the
years.
last year, because there was a video that surfaced about the kid that had headaches and all, and ended up having a stroke or whatever it was. I forget the whole thing. Brain can't. Anyway, the point is he had some kind of other condition wrong. And the way the video came out and the way they talked about Brian Kelly after that situation happened, that's when he lost the locker room because of how he treated that one player. I mean, it only takes one player to give you a bad reputation. I'm not saying,
He gave himself a bad reputation. Yeah, I know. The kid didn't have to do anything. The kid had a medical issue, and
Hmm.
Brian Kelly handled it wrong, which in turn, like I said, he's very narcissistic. He is a narcissist. What I'm saying is, but here's a simple question, guys. I played sports in high school. That's as far as I went. But I can tell you right now, if you gave me lined up five coaches and you threw Franklin, Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley, Sarkeesian, I can tell you the one I'm not picking to play for. It's going to be Brian Kelly. I
Right.
wouldn't take that guy into a bar fight. That's how I don't. That's how much I don't trust him, and I'm not even a fan of him or that program or anywhere he's been. I think he's garbage, and I just don't understand why he would even be relevant right now on anybody's radar. I would give an OC somewhere that's never had a head coaching job more of an opportunity than I give Brian Kelly because I know what Brian Kelly is. He's an asshole. Pardon my
I
language.
agree. I agree. But when you look at Nussmeyer, when you look at Nussmeyer, when you look at that offensive line,
Yeah,
I mean, obviously the defense didn't play great against A&M, but somebody's going to give him a second chance, and it's sad. Like I agree that he shouldn't.
it'd
He
be,
doesn't deserve to be a
it'd
head
be
coach.
actually a fourth.
He doesn't.
It'd be a
It'd
third
be a fourth
chance.
chance when you look at
Let's
it.
be
He had
honest.
Cincinnati
He needs
too.
to take a year off. Oh, that's right. That's right.
He didn't even start off as a football coach. He started off coaching softball back in the '80s, women's softball.
No,
Yeah, go do some fact checking, Bird. You're supposed to be our college guru. What's up, dude?
I will. I will tell you this. I have coached some softball professional athletes that are overseas playing pro ball. I have coached some minor league baseball players. And it's a different mindset when you coach these guys and gals. And if you can't get around that, especially when they're in college, you're not going to get around anything to help these kids get better. And with that being said, if you're not doing this, you don't get this, you get division. And that's what I'm seeing when every team that he's had,
yeah,
at least the two teams that he's had that I know of, I didn't realize Cincinnati, I forgot about that. You saw it. You saw the separation. And just like clockwork, every 3 years, boom, 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 something happens, boom. And I
yeah,
think Dio has it right. It is the narcissistic. I can't even freaking say it in him.
we got you.
Um, and it's amazing because sometimes as that coach, you have to take a step back to look in to see what's going on. And he wasn't doing that. You could totally see that.
Look, Notre Dame fans were ecstatic when he took the LSU job. That right there is everything you need to know.
Yep.
LSU fans are glad that he lost that job. They were chanting during the game, "Fire Brian Kelly." It's to that point with so many programs right now, and it goes back to this. And y'all can tell me I'm wrong. That's fine. The minute money is out in the open, kids are signing contracts. It has nothing to do with NIL deals. Okay, I'd have been fine if they just got NIL deals from these companies like Nike, Adidas, and other places, because that's a direct line between a company wanting to advertise this kid and sponsor him. It's no different than my son getting a sponsor in bass fishing. He can get that. If they wanted to buy me a new bass boat and wrap it in their company, I will gladly. I don't care what they sell. I will promote it because I'll get to use that boat. My son does too. Okay. But
Tampons?
the minute you start signing kids to contracts, like let's take the Michigan quarterback, he signed a 4 year deal. He's there for 4 years. I kind of like that for the fact that you said, all right, we're going to invest in you for 4 years. That kid doesn't have to worry about transfer portal or anything else because if as long as he performs and he grows, he's going to be fine. And so now that money is in college football and out in the open, these coaches, whether they like it or not, it's there and they're going to have to deal with it. And if they don't want to, they need to step down. And I don't want to hear, well, I don't want to use transfer portal. I don't want to use it for this or I don't want to use it for that. Everybody else is using it. It's like I brought up the thing last night. There, when you went fishing, any of you, which I'm not, I don't like to fish, but I will because my son does it. When they have live scopes on their boat that can show you fish underwater and show exactly where your lure is in the water, and it's right off the front of the boat, that's video game fishing to me. To me, that's cheating. I mean, it's like you're not really working for it. However, it's allowed. It's allowed, and everyone else is using it. And if you choose not to, and you keep finishing later in the rankings or wherever you're at, then that's on you. And these coaches are going to have to adapt to that. I really think, my personal opinion, I think Saban was like, nah, I've got all these championships. I'm done. I'll go talk on TV about it. I don't have to deal with it. You got other coaches. I understand they don't want to use the portal as a reload every year because it doesn't always work out because there's a reason why these kids are in the portal. They're not that good. Okay. Some of them aren't. Some of them are. You have to balance it. You have to balance it through recruiting. And you have to balance it through the portal. And it's still early. So you're going to start seeing a balance come to where these universities that aren't performing well right now are going to start coming back. Like your Florida States, your Penn States, they're going to get somebody in there that knows how to work it. But it's going to be hard work, but they've got to do it. I'm seeing some of these coaches in the hot seat right now because they're not balanced. They're top heavy on recruiting. They're not matured enough. They haven't developed them enough to perform. And then you got guys that you took a chance on. You brought them in. They were a bust. It's kind of like a draft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they've got to find the balance. They got to find the balance.
You know who I think of that pops up every time? Not every time, but when you say that right off the bat, Miami. I mean, if you look at it, don't get me wrong, they're having an okay season. But Carson Beck, he is not a pro quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. I don't see it.
They've only got one loss. They're still in it. They're still in it. And hey, look, they handled Stanford the other night with no problem.
You mean underwater basket weaving kumbaya you?
It is.
That's what they've turned into.
The sad part is though, with Miami, you know, Miami had the lean years. Obviously they got in trouble for a lot of stuff back in the day, but they went back to the roots.
Yeah.
What got them to win? Cristobal played under Jimmy Johnson. And he's all about that university. He went there. He won a national title. He's all in. There's too many head coaches. Brian Kelly's one of them that's always looking for his next big thing. And kids not understand that. You want kids to commit to your school, then you got to be committed as a coach too. Not looking, hey, where can I go next? Where can I get that, If your dream job comes open, I understand taking it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But there's too many coaches that they just want to go for the money, which I mean we probably would too. Not trying to say I wouldn't, but these kids, you're trying to get these 18-year-old kids in here to your school,
And you know what?
and you're sitting here looking
You
for
know
your
what?
next
To your
job.
point, Corey.
There's not much trust there.
Do
Look
you
at.
guys?
I know people
Oh, sorry,
are hating
Rod.
on
Go,
Brent
go, go.
Venables at Oklahoma right now because he's lost games that he probably should have won or whatever. But he's brought back that defense at Oklahoma. He's got a decent situation going. But look how long he stayed at Clemson as a DC before he took his job. Every year he was mentioned for jobs and turned them down, period. And you know what? You look at this, and Dio and I've talked at length this weekend about it. There are many sustainable coaches that would take these programs and be sustainable, but because they're not going to get to the conference championships and win the conference championships and all, right now, these schools like Penn State, LSU, Florida are going to go after the splash hire, like a Dan Mullen, like a I'm trying to think of another name, but James Franklin or somebody else at the right next to Gundy. But ultimately, when are we going to get back to the
Gundy,
basics of football
Gundy.
and bring in the right coaching for the right school?
It's going to take that, and it's going to take that balance I was talking
You
about.
know, right?
But this brings me to the next coach that just
Well, you just named the name right there.
well, I want to talk about a coach that still has a job, but it has now thrown a distraction into the mix, and that would be Brandon's coach.
I was
I'm
about
talking
to get
about
into that here in just a minute, but
yep,
I
because
wanted to be
yeah,
brought up for a second.
yeah,
Uh, you're sitting there, you're blaming on this on the coaches and stuff, and it's not just on the coaches. Now, Brian Kelly, I'll give you that, but it's not. You got to put it on the players, and you got to put it on the organizations.
But
You've
it's not
got
an
to,
organization, it's a school. Until they
and
sign contracts, it's not an organization.
they are signing contracts. They have GMs in place. Please tell me how it's any different than the NFL right now,
it's
other than
minor
the
league
rules.
football. It's minor league football.
Yep.
Like I said,
Thank you.
Right.
the kid at Michigan signed a 4 year contract. He is under contract at a school, which that is now to me a business.
Yeah. I'll,
It is.
that I will give you, yes.
So what I'm
So,
saying is,
with that having
you got to
been,
have the
go
right
ahead,
coach.
Jim. Go
No, you
ahead.
got to. But what I'm saying is, you got to find that coach that can then operate it as a business and understand it's a business. It's no longer about this and that. It's all of it. It is. But you're going to have to find the coach that knows how to juggle and balance things, because I think that's where they're upside down right now, and they're not adapting well. And I will put it
Yeah,
on a little bit of their age
some
because
more than
look,
others.
I think we're all getting there. Okay, we're getting gray, but how often are you open to change? And that's where your Dabo Swinney comes in. I would take look. I said I would never take Dabo Swinney at Florida State, but I will tell you, if you got coaches in place out there right now, there's a bunch that I'd sit there and go, yeah, I wouldn't mind having him as coach. I would take him. Because based on what we have now, he's not balancing it. He doesn't know what to do with it, and he's missed. He's been swinging and missing. He went to that back to that portal last year. We ended up 2-10. He went back to the portal again. We're 3-4. I don't even know what we are anymore, but we're upside down, and that's my point. These
With
some of these
everything,
coaches that are out there that lost their jobs, they're not going to recover. They might get hired, but they're not going to recover. But there are some that may, if they learn to adapt and change.
Can I throw a knuckleball in there?
Sure.
Brandon, are you good if I jump in, or do you
yeah,
want
go
to
ahead,
say?
and then I want to land my plane.
Okay, my bad, my bad. Um, so a little knuckleball. There's a saying that I had with ball players: the balls haven't dropped yet. Now, with junior college eligibility not starting their clock for D1, D2, and D3, do you think that we're going to really truly see a minor league system in effect with these JCs, and more kids are going to get signed contracts out of the JCs going into
So
college
when
ball?
did
That
so when
happened in the
did
last year.
JC when did JC not move your clock?
That was allegedly started, yeah, last year.
Okay, I didn't know that. When I was
Yeah,
coaching JUCO, their clock started. The reason I was at a prep school, and the reason I was able to recruit kids to a prep school, was because we made you do college part time, giving you 11 hours, no more than
yeah,
11 hours. 'Cause 12 hours starts your clock. So
yep,
you go to school part time, you're getting film against these junior colleges. These junior colleges have already started their clock. Now you have a year of college film, and now you can go to a college, transfer with your 4.0 because now your ACT doesn't matter. You can go to a D1 school because now your grades are good, and now you're going to start your eligibility clock. You get 6 years of college football.
yeah. Now you get 6 years. And if you get injured or redshirt, you get 7.
So basically, if you
Here's,
went to a prep school, it'd make it 8. You can
Yeah.
do a whole two college stints. Basically, you get 2 college careers if you go to a JUCO or if you go to a prep school and then a JUCO.
here's the beautiful thing about, and I like what Michigan did with this quarterback. I keep going back to this. I guarantee if I could look at that contract, it's got in there. Don't you even look at the transport portal because you're not going.
Yep.
That's where you can get these players that you say, you want to come here? Okay, sign the contract. Because guess what? It'll penalize them if they try to go and say, I'm out. Because if that coach it now, there would be a stipulation in there that if the coach was to be relieved of duty or he decided, hey, I'm taking the job over at this school, then I think they would fall back into the okay, you're allowed to go to the transfer portal. But as long as that coach is there and he signs a contract, that kid signs a contract with that university, hey, buddy, this is your new job until it's not. But
Yeah.
you're under contract, and that's going to stop a lot of this. I don't like the way, I don't like the way practice is going. I don't like this or that. You know, I'm out. No, you're not. Here's your contract. You're not going anywhere.
But
So,
question: Is that going to turn
yeah,
into the NBA contract?
look, to me, it's a business now, and they're going to start treating these players like employees.
I understand, but Kevin Durant goes to Brooklyn, signs a 4-year contract out the next year. He goes to Phoenix, signs a contract for 4 years out, and then 2 years
All right.
later, now he's
Well,
with Houston. So
that's
what?
legally. There's a lot of legalese in there. Okay, that they probably gave him an opportunity to do so. It's kind of like players when they pull the, "You're not trading me. I'm not going anywhere. I have a no trade clause." I mean, we wanted to move Nolan Arenado last year, and he said, "Nope, I like St. Louis." I'm like, "Damn it, he's eating our payroll up." But
Before
he had that in his contract. And look, it's going to come down to legalese. I mean, the kid's going to have a lawyer,
before
and
we
they're
get
either
into
decide to do it
what
or not.
contracts
So go ahead,
should be
Rodney.
doing or
I'm good
not,
with this.
you know what the problem is? Y'all asked when this should become an organization instead of a university. I got the perfect answer. It's collective bargain agreement. We got to get. No, let me land my plane like you say. No,
No,
let me.
no.
No, let me finish what I'm
It was
saying.
ruin the NFL.
I'm not saying
It
it
will
will
ruin
ruin
college
college
football.
football or not, but the way these
Bull.
contracts are going, the way everybody's out for themselves, you're going to have some kind of negotiated situation that allows these rules to be in place.
This is what has ruined football in the first place. Because of the collecting bargaining agreement, these coaches are not coaching these players. These players are throwing temper tantrums and getting traded. They are doing everything that is against football completely. They're not even practicing. That's why these players are getting hurt because they're not in football shape. What do you think is going to happen with college football? It's going to ruin it too. Stop it. The organization needs to do a better job of recruiting players and actually interviewing these players, checking their backstories at home, looking to see if they clean their room, looking to see if they get good grades, and then letting the coach go coach these people outside. He should not be recruiting. You should have a whole team doing that. That's
Brandon,
why Stanford hired Andrew Luck as the
I'm not,
GM. Stop trying to ruin football.
I'm not saying you're
And
not right.
folks,
I'm
that is
saying it
your
is ruined.
Brandonism
I'm
for the
saying
day.
this.
Let's
I'm
go.
saying, hold, hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish what I'm
So why would
saying
you
here.
add it if it's ruining
I'm
football? Why
saying
would
at
you add
this
it to
point,
college
the
football?
way the NCAA
Please tell
has
me how that
done
makes
the
sense.
shit, that this is where it's going. Whether we like it or not, it's where it's going. And you know what? Ultimately, that's why in the next 2030, I've said this on my
Get him,
live
Rod.
and
Get him.
everybody else as well.
Woo!
We're not going to be a part of the NCAA in college football. You got to look at it. They're going to supersede themselves because the NCAA is not doing their job in
Start
these
finding players instead of
situations.
finding
It's
athletes.
not just up to the coaches.
Exactly. The NCAA is not doing their job, and coaches are paying for it.
So, real quick, I love this, by the way. Um,
This is great.
oh my God, yeah. So I keep hearing coaches say this, and I take for a grain of salt what some of these sports analysts say that the
Free advertisement. There you
NCAA
go.
the NCAA is not evolving and they need to evolve with what's going on in sports at their level right now. And the NCAA could be obsolete within 5 years. What do you guys think about that statement?
You you know what I
It's already
compare the
obsolete.
NCAA to? When what I compare the NCAA to is the UN. They collect money, but they don't do anything.
Truth.
That is how I view the NCAA for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
And now they got a mess on their hands, and they're not touching it. They're kind of like, we don't want to mess with that. Somebody's got to be the adult and tell these universities and get them all in house and say, look, this is what we're going to have to do. College football is the problem. It is, you know. And now you got basketball. You're going to have basketball following suit and all this stuff. It's going to level a lot of playing field for a lot of universities that haven't been in the mix. Look at Indiana. Good God, look at Indiana. So that's the point. The NCAA is going to have to put their big boy pants on or their pantsuit, whichever one, and they're going to have to get rules in place and go back to policing a little bit, and keep these universities in check, but let them manage their
Dio,
business
I'm gonna
because
add
that's
one
what it
thing
is now. It's a
to
business,
what you're
and
saying
that's
right there. Then
I'm
I'll shut
good.
up.
I'm good with any bit
You
of
know
that.
what? That whole part right there, policing. Don't tell me it's going to take 10 years for something to happen. You got to do it now. You can't let these kids go into these universities and strip national championships
Yep.
from players or bowl games from players that were never a part of that program, like Reggie Bush, for example, stripping other teams that did the wrong when he did wrong or whatever. You got to immediately make it impact these players that are happening at this time.
Yeah. Yeah. Because right now they're kicking the can down the road. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to kick the can down the road and say, "Oh, we'll look at this again in 5 years." It's festering now, and they're not touching it.
Speaking of ruining college football, uh, my jerk of a coach decided he was going to ruin our season and possibly go to the Tennessee Titans
Whoa, I didn't hear that. Oh crap. When
That's
did that come
that's
out?
Saturday.
there's yeah
over
there
the
there was
weekend.
yeah there was some sprinkling of muddying the waters, if you want to say, of and it's not necessarily the Tennessee Titans, but it's just in general that he might be interested in coaching in college or NFL, and I'm kind of like, you're in the middle of a football season that's not going your way, and you're gonna throw that curveball in here because what does that say to your players? Where does
Wow.
Arch Manning play next year? If Arch Manning has a new coach, does he want to stay at Texas and do it, or does he want to go to another school that's getting an opportunity with a better
He'll go to
coordinator?
SC.
Well, I mean, look, he has that opportunity if Sarkeesian leaves.
Wow. I
And I'm not going to talk about the horns. That's Brandon's department. That's his team. He knows it better than anybody.
yeah.
And I mean, you know,
I'll beat him
that
up. I'll beat him up. Shit.
That's just something you don't do. When you sit there and bitch about players, that the players at the end of the year that don't go to the bowl play in the bowl games or the championship games because they want to save themselves for the NFL draft and blah blah blah. Well, we bitch about that, but now you got a coach doing the
Man.
exact same thing. Middle of the season, all he had to have said is,
Yeah.
"I have no interest." They lie. Coaches lie all the time. I'm sorry, they lie about what they were going to do. Just say, "I have no interest," but you don't do that. That is not a good
No,
look
the
on your
university came
university.
out and said that those obligations are false. Al- allegations,
Yeah,
obligations,
Well,
allegations.
yeah,
was he?
yeah. It
Was it
should have
in an
been.
interview and the reporter set him up for failure, or was it just a blanket statement he said?
It was no, it was an anonymous source.
Oh, so it was BS.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. It was somebody from the organization leaked it.
Oh,
What it
so
So
did
yeah,
though,
And he
it
has
put
not.
the Christian players in a
And
false
he hasn't
sense.
come out and said
but
it's.
he hasn't said whether it is or not.
Yeah,
The
Yeah, he hasn't said if it's true or
the
not, and that
Longhorns
doesn't
came
look
out and
good.
said it. But but I don't care. I don't care about that. I don't want him in Texas. Get the hell out of Texas. Go to Tennessee. I don't care. If you can't coach in college, what makes you think you can coach in the NFL? You're a bum. You're a bum and you can't do it. And you're probably back on the sauce because you're stupid. You can't figure it out. And you're ruining Arch Manning. He needs to go. He needs to transfer. He needs to transfer to a coach that'll actually coach him, that'll actually get him in the tablet, actually hold him accountable, get him off these stupid commercials, and play football. I'm sick of ruining football. You people are pissing me off.
I can tell. Breathe, brother, breathe.
No, it's stupid. I work my butt off to coach these women, to get them to national championships, to go the distance. I don't care about commercials. I don't care about endorsements. I care about what's in between those lines. And if you're not on that same page with me, then don't get here with me. Don't be there with me. I'm ready to go to war. Be
yeah.
here or go.
It does.
What have I said? What have I said lately? Money corrupts.
It
Money
does.
corrupts. Coaches, it corrupts players. The back end, the fans are the ones who get shafted. Because right now, I'm not saying there haven't been good college games, but there's always some baggage with it. There's a string hanging out there, and you're kind of like, what's that string? I need to cut that. And you can't from a fan standpoint. You're kind of like, what is that? Nobody else is paying attention to this. I see smoke. There's definitely a fire there, but, what is it? And it's,
We've seen it in college
yeah.
and pros this year. The product is not what it's been
And
in the
the
past.
officiating. And
As
yeah,
a
we could
fan,
go on the officiating for an hour
yeah,
in both leagues, because I'm calling the
yeah.
college football league now. It's a league.
That's the sad part. We pay as fans, we pay good money to, if not go to a game. It's not free to watch at home
Yeah.
anymore either.
No.
And what we're watching, it's sad when you want to turn it off and watch, you
You
know,
know,
White House down for the
yeah.
50th time instead of watching a college football game or a pro football game.
Or NBA dance
You
offs. I
know,
mean,
I'm 50
what
years
city has
old.
better
I've
dancers?
grown
I
up
mean,
watching
Yeah.
college
in the NBA.
sports most of my
I don't
life
know.
because my dad was into it. I can remember the games being so close, on the edge of your seat, you were on your knees, like, oh my God, this really happened type of moments. We're not, in the last 5-10 years, we haven't seen this. I mean, it's not the same game anymore. I mean, ultimately, I want the game where I'm on my knees saying, "Oh my God, I hadn't seen this but once in a generation game," and you're not seeing that. You're not getting that same feeling. And I'm gonna go back here and not bring it up to talk about, but I'm gonna say it right here. When the Penn State scandal happened, and all we heard that year, all season, was that situation. That's when the game started changing. It's it did not feel like a game after that. It felt dirty. And now we're getting to the point where, because it's a business now, it's ruined. We're still in that dirty phase. When will it ever be cleaned up to be back on your knees? Like, oh my God, this is the one thing I can I can go to my grandkids and say I saw, even if it was on TV.
I've been saying it. I've been saying it. When it happens is when the league decides it's going to take itself back over, and when the NCAA says it's going to take itself back over. Until the league says, "Hey, I'm done with y'all's crybaby shit," and we get rid of the collective bargaining agreement, this will never change. It will never change because you're going to have crybabies crying even louder.
As long as there's a union, you'll always have a CBA, unfortunately. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I just had a thought and I totally forgot it. So, bring
My bad, Chris.
Was it Brian Kelly to Florida State?
no, it wasn't Florida State this time. Maybe next time though. Damn it. I knew I was
All
going to
right,
do that. Oh well. Happens.
let's go. Starting, the North is going to take us the rest of today because there's a lot going on in the North, and I have so many questions. But let's go to the Eagles
Pretty
Giants
much I
game
watched it
yesterday.
with you.
We
I
all
didn't
watched
get
that
to the
game, right?
game. I had the Carolina Panthers getting mollywopped. Your word, Brandon.
Yep.
It was a beat.
So the Eagles did a good job. They mollywopped the Giants, but the refs in that game completely changed that game. There was a fumble on a tush push where Kayvon Thibodeau went in there, stripped Jalen Hurts, and that changed the entire outcome of the game. That was the pivotal moment of the game. That's when Uncle Mo took completely over and said, Eagles, here you go. What Jalen Hurts did a great job without A.J. Brown. What are the Eagles right now?
Ooh, that's a great question, actually. The Eagles are a team that's trying to figure
You
it out
know,
again at the midway point of the season. That's literally what it is. And do they need AJ or not? Let's just say that.
Well, I do agree with Brandon's statement about the officiating. Bad call. However, I did see an Eagles team that looked pretty dangerous. They looked pretty good. Take the officiating out of it. You had two running backs for the Eagles yesterday that both got over 100 yards rushing.
Mhm.
Tank Bigsby and, of course, Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
That right there showed me, you know, okay, Jalen Hurts. How many touchdowns did he have yesterday? Three. That's the third or four. Three or four. That's the third time in his career he's had that many touchdowns in a game. That looked good. That
Mhm.
actually should put some nervousness in the rest of the NFC East. Okay. I didn't think that the Eagles were going to give up two losses to the Giants this year, and they delivered, and they delivered pretty handily.
Neither did the league.
Yeah.
you know that fumble,
Yeah.
which it should have been. You know they want to put. We've got replay in there, and okay, forget the reason why it wasn't able to be replayed. If you're going to have replay, have it for everything, not just what you want to have replay for. That was a fumble. It did change the course of the game, but the Eagles did get back to what they were doing great last year, and that was running the
Yep.
ball. This is the first time this year we've seen them run
Yep.
the ball like they did.
Well, the
You
difference is
know,
Landon Dickerson.
and
He was back yesterday.
yeah, and Landon Dixon being their line being healthy, but that's what we're not. I mean, we've seen it with the Cowboys when they run the ball good, their offense hums. Philadelphia is the same way. They've got to run. They've got two good running backs, and this is the first game they've used both of them, and both of them have had success. So, I mean, I still think there's a crack there somewhere with the
Well,
AJ Brown
Here's
stuff.
my take. You know
But
what? Last few years,
if they
the
play like
Eagles
they
have
did
had
yesterday,
great
that they're
Yeah.
going to look
defense.
a little scary.
This year, their secondary is not as elite as it was in the last couple of years. Offensively, they've not had any problem because Jalen is a facilitator. Jalen can do what he needs to do to win the game. If he has to run 20 times, get 100 yards, along with Saquon, he can do it. He can pass, whatever. But ultimately, this year, I'm trying to see where they make the changes and short that secondary because they can get back to that Super Bowl and win it if they have that secondary in place.
So
What's gonna
go ahead, Corey.
the one thing that what one thing that we didn't talk about yet on that game yesterday wasn't even he made an impact, but look who's back for them. Brandon Graham came out of retirement, and that we might us think, oh, it's Brandon Graham, but for Philadelphia, Brandon Graham is like what Reggie White was for the Green Bay
I didn't know it
Packers.
was official. I thought
I
they were
mean,
just in talks.
just no, he's signed back. He came out of retirement. He's back with them, and that's huge. But their back end, yes, needs to be shored up. But if he comes out of retirement, that is your voice of your team. It was him and Jason Kelsey. Kelsey retired, and then Brandon Graham retired last year, but he came back out of retirement. When you have those kind of leaders, that's what you need on a team, and that's what I think they were missing was the leadership.
So I got two things. Number one, do you guys notice when Jalen Hurts throws for under 215 yards, they play better as a team because their run's actually working and it's not being stopped, and he's able to hit specific points, specific passes, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
With the trade line coming up November 4th, do we see a move for a defensive player for AJ, or do we see him stay with the Eagles? Because I think yesterday's game showed a lot and showed that, hey, we really don't need you. We can do this better without you and your freaking virus attitude.
Okay.
I,
I mean, the Eagles are used to. They've
Yeah.
had Terrell Owens. They had Deshaun Jackson. And are they a better team with AJ Brown? I think so. If it's AJ Brown, the team player, if it's AJ Brown that says "Give me the ball no matter what," that doesn't work. We've obviously seen the Eagles' balance is their run when they can run the ball. It makes Jalen Hurts better as a passer, which happens with most teams. You've got to have balance, and if you go pass happy, that's not working to Jalen Hurts's strengths. He's not a 50 time throw the ball 50 time a person. He's not Dan Marino. You know, you got to do what works. And I mean, it happened yesterday. Let's see what
you got
happens
a
next week.
D-Jack and T.O. like they stayed around Philly. No, they bounced T.O. as soon as that shit went down. D-Jack bounced around the league. So don't act like Philly sits there and puts up with that stuff. They don't. And I'm sorry, but Brett,
Did I say they put
you
up with
did.
it? Did I say they put up with it? No, I did not say they put up with it. I said if you've ever noticed, Philly has had that problem before
And they get rid
in
of
the
it.
locker room. They've had T.O. They've had well, they might have, but I'm just saying they could get rid of AJ this year. They just have come out and said no, they're not trading him. But when push comes to shove,
I
let's
think
see
it
what they
happens at
do
the
with
end of the
him.
year. I don't think it happens before the trade deadline. I do think they make a move before the trade deadline because they have a ton of draft capital, so they can easily make moves. But
Hmm.
I think AJ Brown is gone at the end of the year.
I personally, if I was, I would just be happy. I mean, playing on a team like that that's won the Super Bowl and got a chance to go back. I
Here,
mean, I'd be quiet
go
and
ahead, Dio. Give me
play,
that.
and then at the end of the year is when I'd be like, "Hey, get me out of here."
All right.
Oh, we got the DO take. Let's go.
So the thing, all right. So the thing about AJ Brown, I think the Eagles organization just wanted to kind of put it in a standstill, stagnant water. They threw some cold water on that about AJ Brown, but organizations all the time, they always got to have a PR person throw something out there just to appease the masses to stop talking about it. The Eagles went out and took care of business yesterday against a division opponent, and I've heard organizations tell a quarterback before, "Hey, you're our guy," but yet they got somebody sitting on the tarmac in a plane with another quarterback from another city at the exact same time. They're telling their quarterback, "You're our guy," and then what happens? They ship that guy off, and they bring the guy that was in the airplane in. Okay, Eagles can say all they want, but at the end of the day, it's a business. If they decide they can get some good capital for AJ Brown, he's out of there. I mean, look, they got a week to do it. This week,
Yep.
they could do it. Micah Parsons got his way. He got out.
You know the worst part though. The worst part about that game yesterday, though,
Yeah,
the thing is
that
we're
was it.
talking about the Eagles and stuff, which
That
we
was
should.
horrific.
But look at that devastating injury to Cam Scadaboo
Yeah,
for the Giants. I mean,
it was. He's already had his
I
surgery.
mean that goes back.
He's already had a surgery, and he'll be
Yeah,
back next year. And but it's going to be important that he watches his weight and that sort of thing because he did have a problem with that in college.
Yeah.
But to go back to that Eagles game real quick, here's something I wanted to talk about, and it's the officiating. The owners and the Players Association are going to have to go and say, this has got to change. And when I say this, what are these referees? They're watchers. Okay, New York is supposed to be watching them and keeping them in check. The problem is they've got to change that. They've got to change this factor right here. That fumble was clearly a fumble on the tush push. The officiating's response was, "We already called the forward progress stopped. Play over. You can't challenge it." They're going to have to. They're going to have to put that power in the hands of New York and tell them, "Yep, they made that call on the field, but clearly the video shows differently. That his forward progress was not stopped, and that was a fumble. And the coach should be allowed to challenge that." Because at that point, he's challenging the officiating to make Big Brother up here in New York make the right call for the damn benefit of the game and the fans and keep the integrity in place. People make mistakes. I know they do. And they can say, no, forward progress was stopped. No, video shows differently, bud. We're going to have to overrule you, Mr. Ref. And that's the end of it. But until the players and the owners push this in the offseason at their meetings, okay, you're going to get that forward progress. Nope, you can't challenge that. They got to change it because right now there's nobody watching the watchers. Kind of like that graphic novel. Who watches the Watchmen? Okay, and you gotta hold them accountability to a standard because look, there's another league that has the rule that you can challenge that it should have been a penalty, right?
Yep.
They use it and it's been successful because you've watched, a receiver wearing the defender like a coat and they don't call the penalty and the coach is like, that was blatantly pass interference. They throw the flag. Guess what? They come back and say, yeah, that was a penalty. I know they're wanting to streamline the games. They don't want them to be drug out, but they've got to have it. Look, there's enough technology now. The camera angles, everything's there. They can quickly make an assessment and make a call and tell the ref, hey, you
You
were
know,
wrong. Sorry, bud.
Theo, I
Eat some
agree
humble
with
pie, but this play is going to be
Theo.
changed.
I agree with
That
you. Look at Major
is
League
over.
Baseball.
They got
Okay,
earpieces. It wouldn't be hard.
baseball gets. I think it's Chris. Help me out here if I'm not mistaken. 20 or 30 seconds to review a play and challenge the play, something like that. They got a certain window, right?
They do. It's 1 minute allegedly, but sometimes it goes longer than
Right.
that.
Right.
and
The
the
point is,
2030 the 20
they
second
got
clock
an
is for
instant
pitchers and
one person
hitting
that watches
box.
the replay, picks up the phone, say, "Hey, we challenge this. Don't throw the flag. Pick up the phone. Have a phone on the sideline like you had with the quarterbacks, and say, "Hey, challenge us."
The problem with
The-
that is this is the disconnect between the phone being too far away from the field and the stoppage of play because they're not going to be able to stop the play in enough time.
they got earpieces and everything else now.
Well, you
Like
still got to
Johnny's
throw
over
the
here talking
No,
flag
about
and
I
just
know
say,
that, but
"Hey,
I'm
1800
just saying the way
technology,
baseball does it, they seem to have it
huh?
right as far as the time and the availability of the challenge. That's what I'm saying.
But in the dugout, you got a manager sitting next to the phone. On the football field, everybody's using headsets and walkie-talkies. It would not be hard to get that call in.
You think so?
It really wouldn't.
Because if you have the coaches and the referees on the same channels, then you have an issue there with the coaches going, "Oh, that was a penalty."
No, 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 no. I'm talking about the calls coming from New York for the
Okay,
referees.
all right, different. My bad. My bad.
But I always go back. I always go back to this, and I've asked you guys this. When they've been, when they push back saying, "Well, we don't have the technology to do that," I'm sitting there going, "Then how the hell did we talk to men on the moon back in the '60s? Come on, we are so more advanced in technology now. Yes, we can make that happen.
Everybody's
Okay, because
got
I can still
Bluetooth
drive from
earpieces.
yeah, I could drive from my house to another little city nearby, Chattanooga, and guess what? I don't have cell reception. But yet we could talk to men on the moon back in the '60s. I'm sitting there going, what the hell? Come on, do better, Verizon. Do better, somebody. But come on, it can be done. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be up to the owners because the tush push was on the table last year in the offseason. Do they keep it or do they don't allow it anymore? They left it in. Some people hate the tush push, other people like it. Okay, it's there. You got to deal with it. The officiating is the same way. They've got to clean up the officiating. They've got to be having somebody hold this accountable because look, I'm not saying that every one of these plays that they missed dictated how that game turned out, but it definitely changed the momentum in that quarter. Okay, we all watched it. We were all in agreement yesterday on the live, going, "That's a fumble. That's a fumble all day long. It doesn't matter who you're pulling for. Doesn't matter if you like the team or not. I want fair officiating. Period."
Yeah.
Look, like I said, I make mistakes all the time. I'm not perfect, but I can tell you they're making a hell of a lot more money than I ever made. Well, I don't know about that, but anyways, they have to be held accountable when they do make a mistake. It's okay to make mistakes, but not when it comes to this much money. Fans are invested. Our time is money to us. If we're not working, we're at home watching these games because that's what we enjoy. And when these games are ruined by mistakes, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and you're just kind of like, really? Nobody could have said, "Hey, that was a wrong call," because it's helped baseball out a lot. Where they used to call
Yeah.
some of these guys out at the bases,
Yeah.
that changed the game. You know, especially when a guy gets called out at second and the next guy gets up and hits a double. That run on second that they called him out could have scored,
Yeah.
Yeah.
possibly, more than likely. But now they're like, oh, he was safe, and then
Well,
guess what? The next guy up hits the ball and he drives in a run. It works. So I'm glad you brought baseball into it because they've gotten better with it.
so the
And
biggest
also,
takeaway, go ahead.
the difference between the MLB and the NFL right now with their officials is this: the MLB recognized that
Effort.
there is a problem and they needed to fix it to make it better. The NFL just wants to ignore the problem because their referees are right 100% of the time, even though they have the challenge flag. How many challenge flags have we seen thrown where we're all, oh, yeah, it's a fumble, no pun intended, and then it not get called a fumble? I mean,
Yeah,
that's literally, boom, the issue between both.
that's what I'm saying. Somebody in New York has got to sit there and say, "Look, bud, you're wrong. We're all in agreement here. We're overriding you." you're going to be embarrassed in front of this crowd, but you deal with it because you get paid well to do this. So I don't want to hear, you're hurting my feelings because you're going to make me look
Corey,
bad. Sorry,
Corey,
you
you got
know.
anything to add?
I hear that. What do I hear?
No, you guys have hit it pretty much all on the head. Seriously. So, I mean, we're seeing how bad the officiating's gotten, not just in all sports. Because look, the minor league baseball are starting to bring out freaking robots.
Yeah.
To do just call the strikes, balls and strikes, and
And it's
that's
it's pretty
not
damn accurate.
baseball. I'm sorry, It's not baseball.
Biggest takeaway from
I
last night's
mean,
game or yesterday's game during with the Eagles and Giants was literally taken out of the game, and that's Cam Scatterbo.
Yeah.
Uh, big
Man.
loss for big loss for the
The
Giants.
Giants.
Yeah. Uh, do we? What do we think?
I think with
Is
his
Cam
work
Scat going
ethic,
to be able to
I
come
think
back and
yes.
be the
Now,
Cam Scat that we knew?
let me preface my answer by saying this. Do I think he can one time? Absolutely. Now, if this becomes a multiple time injury, then no, I don't think so. Look at Christian McCaffrey. It took him how many years to get over all these injuries he's had? And that's, it's
Well,
not.
I mean, if
It,
Carolina
it
would have done
wasn't
something
just
like
Carolina.
get
He
another
had
player in
had
there
injuries in San Fran too. I mean,
besides that one.
some people aren't as durable as other players. Look at Walter Payton back in the day. Walter Payton was one of the most durable running backs there ever were. But with Cam Scatterboo, if it's a one-time injury, then absolutely he can
Yeah.
come back and be better than ever.
With today's technology and his body type and his anatomy and his mental toughness, I think that he definitely comes back. But I don't think he'll be as effective at first. It's kind of like when guys come back from their first ACL tear and they're, basically need to get hit again. Or you can talk about pitchers coming back from Tommy John. It's going to take time. He's not going to be where he was right now for maybe 2 years.
Right.
Um, that injury was gruesome. From my medical background, I sat there and I watched to see how it could have been prevented. The tackle wasn't a bad tackle. His foot literally gets caught, and that's all that it was. And, you know, it was a fluke play, in my opinion, that his ankle went, you know, completely 90 degrees outward. So
No pun intended.
that's just tough. That's just a tough break right there. Yeah, yeah, literally and figuratively. Thank you.
yeah, that's when you have an injury like that. I can honestly talk on that because you know I'm 50 years old. Sorry, that was my dog, but I'm 50 years old, and I tore my knee up in high school, and I'm going to tell you the you know when we're younger we think we're invincible and stuff, and the the worst fear I ever had after I had the surgery was taking a hit on that knee again, on that leg, because I had to get through that mentality first. I had to, that was, playing basketball, the running in a straight line was fine. I was worried about cutting. On the football field, I was worried about taking a direct another hit to my leg. And I had to get through that mentally. That's the worst part of a lot of these injuries
Dio, you got
is the
anything?
mental part of it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I watch it all the time. Players try to come back from ACL. My players try to come back from ACL, and it's a 2 year process. I mean, it's a year to heal, and then it's another getting your mentals back. I do understand that. I'm kind of
That's probably the roughest thing is the mental part of it. I mean, going through therapy is easy. I mean, that sounds dumb, but it's
this kid
true.
runs his head through
It's
walls. I'm
easy.
not worried about
It
his mentals.
yeah
He's got two brain
yeah.
cells.
It's after that. It's like boom.
Cam Scatterboo has two brain cells and they're fighting. I'm not worried about his mentals. He runs headfirst into walls. He hits his head up against the locker. I'm not. My thing is, he is such a violent runner. The Giants did not use him like the Panthers used Christian McCaffrey. I am 100% sold that the Panthers ran Christian McCaffrey to the ground. And once you get the injury bug, it is hard, especially as a running back. It is hard to ever recover. Like once you get injured, you just stay injured. And I'm really worried with Cam Scott being in his rookie year. I don't know if he's going to be able to come back and be as effective as he was. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to keep sustain the health that he's been able to sustain, and he's one of the most violent runners I've ever seen. I said from the get go that him running so violently was not going to be he was not going to have a long career. I'm hoping it's longer than a year. I'm hoping his
Yeah,
career is
You
longer than a
know
year.
something, Brand.
me too. Me too.
You know, one thing though, Brand. We've seen. We actually being Cowboy fans, we've got to see this year. Javante Williams, when he came out with Denver, I mean, had a great year. Was blah blah blah. He tears his ACL last year. Obviously, it was his first year back, and he didn't play very well. You know, but look at him this year. This is the second year back from it, and he was going into yesterday. He was second in the league in rushing. I mean, that it does a lot to your psyche, and it takes a lot to get because once you tear whatever part of your leg you tear up, it's not just that part you've got to build back up. It's everything else too. So if it's his ankle, he's got to do his calves,
Oh
his
yeah,
knee, his thighs, his
all the way up.
hammies. You know,
I
so
Yeah.
will say this too about it. He's a tough SOB. Let me tell you this. When he's sitting there going, "Okay, just help me up," to his guys, and he's looking at his ankle, and his everybody else around him's freaking out. He's like, "Just get me up." I was like, "Oh, damn!" And then he realized it was like, "Oh, that really is as bad." And he starts tapping
I
his
don't
head.
mean
I
to
was like,
laugh, but
"Yeah, you are a
his
tough."
reaction on that was kind of priceless.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, he's tough.
not been there, done that before.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was shock. I think, guys. I really do.
I was trying to
hey,
get
I've
into this
I've sat there and
conversation
watched.
about 30 minutes ago. Um, this episode is going to go a little longer today, guys. We have a whole lot to talk about in the North, the AFC North. Yesterday, my Cowboys got blown out by the Broncos. We're going to figure out how to make a 17
One
game
time.
season 8-8 because that's what the Cowboys do. Um, thanks to my owner. Um, but you have the Ravens won handily yesterday. Both the Steelers and the Bengals pooped the bed, but the Bengals pooped the bed against the Jets, out of all people. Um, and with 8 minutes to go, it was a 14-point game.
That
Is this more on
Their
Cincinnati
defense,
or is this a testament to the Jets?
The Jets are the reason.
Cincinnati's defense is what we thought it was. Horrible. Their best player goes out of the game, and they crapped the bed. Gave up that 14-point lead. The Jets ran the ball down their throat. I mean, they just they had a will yesterday to make sure they didn't lose the eighth in a row, and Cincinnati's defense just let them. I mean, Flacco did his everything he possibly could to keep that lead, but the defense just was like, "Here you go."
I think that it was the Mangold game, and the Jets had to prove something, not only to themselves, but their fan base for him. And Nick Mangold, I mean, let's be honest, 7-time Pro Bowler, was the Jets for how long? He was their only ball player for how long? Let's just throw that out there. And I think they had to come out, punch somebody in the mouth, which they didn't to start with, but they finished. They went the whole 12, or in my day and everybody else's day, probably 15, if you remember that. But I don't know.
Yep.
They took advantage of the Cincinnati defense, which is horrendous.
Sorry about that, guys. I just got some bad news, but my mother, my mother came and stayed with me last night. She didn't know I was on a podcast. Apologize for the interruption, but I got some bad news from my younger brother. So,
You all right?
yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I'm good. But yeah, the AFC North is the whole thing's a dumpster fire. Joe Flacco, he got banged up in that game yesterday, and they thought they were going to have Browning come in and try to get him in field goal range. Flacco came back, and he just couldn't get it done. Drop passes. They were trying to get in field goal range to win that game. Hats off to the Jets getting their first win of the season. I thought they did a good job. I mean, Justin Fields didn't give the game away. I mean, he wasn't spectacular, but he didn't lose the game for them. Brees Hall had a good game, but the Bengals, the Bengals are still undefeated in the North. The Ravens are undefeated in the North. The Steelers, I think this is Tomlin's first losing season. I've been saying it for weeks. I know we're still showing in first place in that division. Lamar Jackson comes back Thursday against the Dolphins, and Derrick Henry got warmed up yesterday. He had a good game, no fumbles. Their defense is getting some of their players back. They're getting healthy off injuries. I still think it's the Ravens to lose because they don't have a loss in that North Division yet. So we could have a a
All right,
multiple
I got
loss
I got a
North
question
team
for
win
everybody.
the North and make the playoffs.
Dennis
And I think it's
Green
going to be the
comes to
Ravens.
mind. They are who we thought. They are who we thought they were. Would the real good? Would the real team in the AFC North please rise?
Yep. And they are. I mean, the Ravens went out and played a hell of a game yesterday with Tyler Huntley. He had a good game. He didn't give the game away. Their defense, stopped when they needed to, which is what they've been struggling with lately, giving up the points late in the game. They held their own yesterday. Baltimore played a complete game yesterday with what little they had. They kind of did what a 49ers did against Atlanta with all the injuries they had, 2 weeks ago. So I still, I look at that $180 defense the Steelers have, and it is hot garbage. It is there. There is no fixing it. You can't go out and get some key players to come help on that defense because you can't pay them because you got all your money tied up in one player on that defense, TJ Watt. And I'm just like, we're top heavy, And if TJ Watt goes out, look, that's a big loss on that defense. And you got 10 other guys and then a replacement coming in. That's even going to be worse if TJ Watt goes down. Aaron Rodgers' receivers were not on the same page last night. There were so many dropped balls, and then there were so many underthrown balls, and he wanted to blame it on them not running the routes right. He was showing his ass last night during that game. I mean, I'm sorry. Aaron Rodgers is probably about to get to the point where players are going to look at him and go, you know what, man, you're a rental for 1 year. Kiss my ass. I'll be here next year. You won't. And I just think the wheels are about to come off. And I think Mike Tomlin, in his entire tenure in Pittsburgh, who's never had a losing season, and how many weeks have I been saying this, Brandon? This will probably be Mike Tomlin's first losing season.
Two,
You've been saying that since before the season started.
Can,
I just, yeah,
And I
I
was
love
doing
my
some
Steelers.
research.
I love them.
I
But
was doing some research because I was looking before the season, and I'm going, how many quarterbacks are truly, honestly better than Aaron Rodgers? And I'm looking at the quarterbacks, and I'm thinking six. So you're going to lose 6 games. You're better than 11 of them that you're going to play. You're going to split the division. You're 3-3 in the division. You lose 3 more because those quarterbacks are better than you, and then you make a run. I can still see you guys finish at 10-7. I had you guys winning the revenge game. I'm not gonna lie about it,
madness, madness.
but you guys also pulled out some games that I didn't think you were supposed to pull out. But then when I go to
Look,
look, other than New England, who I think is a really good team, it's a young New England team that you guys beat.
yep.
You beat up on some bad teams. I mean, that's really all you did, um, was beat up on some bad teams. And so I'm a
Look,
little nervous about the Steelers. I still think y'all can pull it out. You guys are looking a little long in the tooth. Aaron Rodgers didn't forget how to sling the ball, but I do think your receiver forgot how to catch yesterday. I don't know if they just overlooked Green Bay or what,
no,
but DK Metcalf has got to be better. You've got to get Calvin Austin more involved. You got to get Vince Groening more involved. I haven't seen Robert Woods. I'm assuming he's either hurt or just disappeared. Somebody
he's
put out
not.
a
He's not on
missing.
the field. They cut him. He never made the team.
can,
Robert Woods didn't.
No,
Oh, I
listen.
didn't know that because it
You,
still
you,
shows
you
that he's
got
active on the roster.
you got our OC last night. We're in the fourth quarter. We're down by 2 scores, 13 points. Let's run the fucking ball for 2 yards. Let's go ahead and run the clock out for Green Bay. I'm just like, what are we doing?
Nah, yeah, but they
Kraft
don't like
had
Arthur Smith.
hey, Kraft looked like an MVP tight end last night, and he is good. Don't get me wrong, but man, Love hit him all night because we wanted to tackle him up top. That dude's too big to tackle up top. I could go on and on and on and kick my Steelers. Look, it is what it is. They're top heavy on payroll in the defense with no talent.
You
Look,
brought to
you
your
look at
Steelers. I was still talking about the
all
Bengals
these
and the
Pro
Jets.
Bowlers. Look at all these Pro Bowlers on our defense. They're not Pro Bowlers anymore. They're old. There's a reason why Miami was so willing to give up Jalen Ramsey. And
I
he was a
said it last
Seminole in
night
college. I
on your
love him.
live show.
But he's not the Jalen Ramsey
The,
of 5 years ago.
No.
Where he look, I know. And look, I stuck to my live last night.
but
I
I
sat
said
there
it
for
last
4 hours
night.
and
By the time they showed
entertained
the
whoever wanted to watch that
last second
shit show
stats,
with me.
the way
And
Love was throwing, he was stinking and dunking
yeah.
a good bit. But by the time they got the yards after the catch, what did I say? It didn't feel like he had 360 yards. Did I not?
Yep.
I know, but that's the point I'm making. I mean,
No, but because of poor tackling and I mean missed tackling. Yeah. But here's the thing: when you go back and look at who the Steelers beat, Week 1 they had to come back and beat the Jets, who just got their first win yesterday.
yeah.
Okay, that's
Revenge
when
game
I
for
was
both teams.
going, huh?
Revenge game for both teams.
Listen. Aaron Rodgers should have had a revenge game last night on Green Bay, and I'm telling you, he was running for his life last night. He was having issues, okay? But a lot of it he was trying to blame. It was a finger pointing last night. I'm sitting there going, stop. You're
I'm with you on
professional
that.
grown ass men making millions of dollars, and we're going to start chipping at each other. Really? Play the damn game. But back to the other thing. We played a Green Bay team who lost to the Browns. We played a Green Bay team who tied the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? Are you starting to follow what I'm playing here? We beat teams, or we lost to teams. We lost to Joe Flacco, okay, who's older than Aaron Rodgers. And supposedly they have a worse defense than we do, which I don't believe that. I think the Steelers have the worst defense in the league. I'm serious. I really think they're just that dumpster fire that needs to be extinguished and pushed out back behind the building.
That would be
No
my
fix.
Cowboys. We're ranked 32nd.
Hold on. The thing is, the Seahawks, people said, oh, we should have won that game. Well, we didn't. We're going to play. Look, I believe the Ravens are going to beat us twice. I believe the Bengals are going to beat us again. I believe the Browns may get our ass because we can't stop the run and we can't tackle. You don't think Judkins is going to have a day against the Steelers? And I'm sorry if there's Steeler fans that are going to watch this and be pissed off at me. I don't care. I will still put my black and gold jersey on every damn Sunday. Okay? But I'm facing reality here, and the reality is Tomlin gets his first losing season. Period.
I agree
And
with
I'm
you.
done. I'm done talking about my
Okay.
shit Steelers right now.
Corey, what do you got, bro?
Okay, the NFC or the AFC North. AFC North is the only division in pro football that every team has a minus differential, point differential, except for the Steelers, who is sitting at even. They also are the only team in that division. There is not one team in that division that has a winning record at home. They're either 500 or below 500 at home. That's the AFC North. The sad part is the team that has given up the least amount of points
All
is
right,
in last place,
Corey.
and that is the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, they have a good defense.
So whichever
All right,
team
so I'm
gets
gonna
their
answer
defense,
I'm gonna
whichever team
answer
can
the original
win at
question.
home.
I'm gonna answer the original question. The Jets came back and beat Cincinnati yesterday. Justin Fields did a great job throwing to his tight end Mason Taylor off his back foot while getting hit. Fields also threw a touchdown pass to Johnson off his back foot while also getting hit. The New York Jets actually came back and took that game. They strapped up. Brees Hall was getting hit in the backfield and still making plays. They had all three, Davis, Hall, and the rookie, all running big time yesterday. And Justin Fields was making play after play after play. Justin Fields was the best game I've ever seen Justin Fields play yesterday.
What did I say a minute ago? Justin Fields played a good game, and he did not give the game away. They gave him an offensive playbook yesterday that worked for him. He wasn't even supposed to start yesterday. They benched him last week, and the other guy was hurt, so they had to play Justin Fields. And congratulations to the Jets. Congratulations to Justin Fields for coming out and not giving the game away. He did a good job. I'm not knocking him. And I was glad to see the Jets get a W because, look, I don't like to see any professional team, period, in any sport go winless, or have that awful record like some baseball teams have had in the past and what have you. But again, we went into that game last night with a plus 10 differential, Corey, because I do pay attention to that. And we're now at even. Okay? I get it. But we're going to be playing some better defenses coming up. And Aaron Rodgers last night against Green Bay's defense was running for his life. I mean, as soon as he was trying
last
to,
I saw
how many
when they were
sacks were in that
comparing
game last night?
the
I haven't even looked up the
360-yard
stats
stat,
because
I think they said he had at least 3 sacks against him.
yeah, that's what I mean. I haven't looked at any of the stats because I watched that full game last night with some of you, and I had some other people that I guess they're into sadistic stuff. They like to see pain and suffering. So I guess I gave them their fix because I sat on camera, watching my Steelers on TikTok. Which, hey, I love my Steelers. I'm going to watch them no matter what. But Brandon, I know where you're going with this, and I mean, on paper, I would sit there and say, you know what, you got a point, but my eyes do not lie. Okay, and I've been watching my Steelers since I was 4 years old. I can smell what the Steelers are cooking, and it stinks. Okay, I'm not calling for Tomlin's job. I don't like our OC. I think he needs to go. He wasn't a good head coach in Atlanta. He needs to go.
I don't
Okay,
like Arthur Smith.
but we're in this season. We're in it, and our defense played about as ugly as those uniforms last night. And that's my hot take on the Steelers.
So I got a quick hot take, real quick. The Titans are sending cornerback Roger McCreary to the Rams for conditional fifth or sixth round pick swap per Adam Schefter right now. So just want to throw that out there to you.
Lions are legit. They're making or Rams are legit. They're making moves. That's still my Super Bowl pick.
I know.
Before we get in the game tonight, I wanted to look at something.
No,
Uh,
listen,
did-
I'm listening to y'all.
Go
I
ahead,
really
Rob. What's
don't
up?
have anything right now.
Who is more impressive? Shane Steichen in the Indianapolis Colts or Mike
I think I'm
Vrabel
going
in
to
the
go
New England
Shane
Patriots?
Steichen. And here's why. We know what Vrabel is. He's a heck of a coach. He was a great linebacker. But you know what? Steichen, he did a
He's a
good job at
linebacker. I wouldn't
Tennessee,
say
is
that
what
he
I'm
was a great
saying.
coach. Where are
I
you going to
didn't
say he
say
was a great coach at?
before that. Before that.
He did.
They traded his
All
whole
right.
damn team away. When you
Yeah.
trade a man,
I know.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why he
But what
gets the
I'm trying
knock,
to say is
Rodney.
this.
And I don't
Steichen has
agree with
taken a
you.
lot of heat over the last couple of years because he did not have quarterbacks to know what kind of coach he was. Now that he's got Daniel Indiana Flippin' Jones, he is proven that he can coach with this guy. He's proven that he's had the talent around them to win if they had a quarterback. So ultimately, I think he gets the nod right now.
That's a tough one.
I have to agree. I like the way that Indianapolis has come out this year. Daniel Jones. I think they have more talent all around though than New England does. But you know, Jonathan Taylor, having him played an MVP, way he's playing. I keep hearing you. He's playing at the MVP level. And then you got Daniel Jones. I mean, he resurrected his career just like Darnold did last year in Minnesota. So, I mean, they're both impressive.
Who's next? Who wants to go next?
Go Dio.
You or Chris?
Oh, okay. Handsome always wins. I know.
Oh,
All
shit.
right.
Oh Jesus.
I think the coach. I think the coach at the Colts. I think he's doing a good job. He has had talent there. He has shown the talent with minus the quarterback. So, if you wanted to give him anything, I would say what he's done the past couple of years without the quarterback they've needed. Okay, Flacco came out of retirement and played there. They had Phillip Rivers there. They had Anthony Richardson, who should have never been drafted as a quarterback out of Florida. And it's not because he played at Florida. I just never felt that kid was a NFL quarterback. Okay. Now, Daniel Jones, when he played at Duke was a decent team, and look, when the Giants drafted him, and that gets in a whole nother story about Haskins. I've asked the question before: would Dwayne Haskins still be alive had the Giants taken him like they said, gave him pretty much the nod they were going to take him, but instead they did a flip and took Daniel Jones, and Haskins ends up in Washington. Then Washington kicks him to the Steelers, and then you know what else happened. Okay, the rest is history.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones was in a terrible system in New York. It was just the wrong quarterback for the wrong team. And now that you see him with a coordinator that was more suited, like he had at Duke, and Duke's a basketball school. But when you can perform as a football school at Duke, especially the way he did in the ACC, I always thought Daniel Jones was a great quarterback. And he is showing when you put him in a system with a great running back and receivers, he gets the job done. They've got one loss. They look great. Now, what did we see for all those years up in New England with Tom Brady? We saw winning. We saw Super Bowls. We saw. So when you saw Belichick retire, Brady goes to Tampa, where were the Patriots? Upside down and on fire. They already went, they did a 1 year deal with that coach. He's gone. Vrabel gets run out of Tennessee by just piss poor management. I think to this day, I've always liked Vrabel. I would love him at Pittsburgh, to be honest with you, if Tomlin ever left, because I would keep Vrabel until he's ready to quit coaching. But he did a hell of a job with Tennessee. But then the GMs, multiple, started trading away A.G. Brown. Then we got rid of Derrick Henry. We set this receiver over here. We set that receiver over there. This linebacker went here. And then they turn around and blame Vrabel for the meltdown that he had
Yeah.
that season. They were on a roll. What they lose? 8 straight, 6 straight, missed the playoffs, something like that. Or they ended up a wild card. I'm not a Tennessee fan, but I kind of paid attention a little bit. So Vrabel got kicked out of Nashville, and I was kind of like, that's bullshit. I disagree with it. Patriots bring back one of their boys. Look at the Patriots this year. I got to give it to Vrabel because, we were used to seeing the Patriots here, and then they were here because Buffalo took over. And the Patriots are playing some damn good football with a young quarterback. They've got a talented roster. I think it's going to get better through the drafts. And I think Vrabel's going
And Drake
to
Mason
utilize
only going
every
to get
bit of it.
better.
And I see him bringing New England back to where they were. And that's what I mean. So both coaches are great coaches. I give them both credit. But with what Vrabel's done in a less time, bringing New England back to a relevance, I mean, they're competing for that AFC East. I'm sorry, they are. So I gotta go with Vrabel on that. Sorry to be long winded about it.
That's where
It's okay. We're
the
used to it.
diabolical comes in.
I know, man.
We see where Jake gets it
Yeah.
now.
That's right. So this is what I got to say. So the Colts coach has finally figured out how to put things together there with adding a piece, okay, which was Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has finally figured out how to apply what he's learned elsewhere, kind of in the way that Dio is saying, which has given new life to Jonathan Taylor and probably the fifth or sixth best tight end in the league, Warren.
He's a rookie.
I
He's a
think
rookie.
that.
Who's a rookie?
Yeah.
Say that again?
Who's a rookie?
Yeah.
Warren's a
He's the
rookie.
fifth or sixth best tight end right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big
And
rookie. Young buck.
yep. And with them, or let me rephrase, not them, but Daniel Jones finally having a tight end that he can go to and trust, I think has brought that stock up. That coach is doing a good job. Don't get me wrong. But what's the hardest thing to teach an athlete? How to win, right? It's easy to say you can win, but to actually physically do it, apply it, so on and so forth, and put it together, you got Mike Vrabel. I know I talked about this earlier, the psychological part of the game, and that's what college and professional sports are now, is being able to be a good psychiatrist or psychologist and bringing all that and melding it together. But it's the truth. And Vrabel came from winning, and he understands how to win. Now he's teaching these young athletes how to win, and it's starting to go like this, and it's getting better and better and better. And you see the confidence building up, and you see them playing better, which is going to be scary when playoff time comes around. I got to give the nod to Vrabel.
Bird, you probably
I
just
can
looked this
look
up
up
because I
real
saw you
quick.
looking up something on your phone. Does anybody know how long Shane Steichen's been a coach?
How long?
And now,
No, I already know. You don't have to look it up. I know the answer. 25 games.
Wait.
it's not a lot.
25 games. That's
Half.
how long he's been a head coach. And everybody kind of danced around this and touched around it, but nobody actually said it. What Mike Vrabel is doing is way more impressive than what a young, almost rookie coach is doing. What Shane Steichen is doing is he took a playoff quarterback that was handcuffed by Brian Daboll, and he put him in a system with a really good tight end, a really good running back, a really good offensive line, and a really good defense. And he plugged and played. They utilized Daniel Jones. They didn't handcuff him. Shane Steichen is doing a great job completely turning that organization around. Mike Vrabel is taking a young quarterback with less talent and doing more. Mike Vrabel has the nod. I think that's coach of the year right now.
I'll give you that.
25 games is all Shane Steichen has
I would
done.
not disagree.
And in those 25 games, these last 8 weeks have been amazing.
All
It's been
right.
the best
We
8
have
weeks of his life.
some
Because
breaking
last year was
news.
not as good.
Anthony Edwards in the NBA
So-
is out 2 weeks with a sprained hamstring.
Ouch.
I think he's going to continue to be plagued with the injury bug.
Well, it just came
And I'm glad
across
you
my phone,
transitioned
so
this
that's
into
breaking news.
that's not really breaking news, but I'm glad you transitioned this into basketball. Because
He
Dio
had a
had an
dilemma.
issue last night. Not an issue. What's the word I'm looking for?
Or
No, not a dilemma.
there you go.
He opposed something he visually saw yesterday
Uh-oh.
in basketball in the NBA. And before we get into baseball, because I want to talk the World Series and tonight's game for just a minute. We're already going an hour and a half. We're way late. Dancing at halftime. Bring It On is officially here. It's been here for a while. If you ever go to a basketball game, you will see it every halftime show. But now they're actually showing the fans at home these Bring It On dance scenes in between quarters. How do you guys feel about Dancing with Diabolical?
Why not? He said he wanted you.
I ain't
He
dancing with
said he
Diabolical
wanted you to be his first partner.
because I got two left feet. I got
I'm just kidding. I
I
don't
got
want
two left
anybody
feet. I don't
dancing with
dance.
I know.
Diabolical.
I know.
Diabolical, we don't know if he can dance or not. Not really trying to see it. But
Then
from the entertainment aspect,
You know.
what do you guys think about
Go
them
ahead,
showing
Corey.
the dancing and the in between things?
it. I don't even know what to say about it because it just makes me laugh. They're just trying to bring entertainment in, and as expensive as a ticket is, I mean, I see it, but I don't want to go see If I want to go see dancing, I'll go to a show.
Strip club? Excuse me.
I don't care what it is. I'm just saying, I'll go to a dance.
We didn't say what kind
I'll
of
go
show.
to
We
a
just said a
dance.
show.
Yeah. So I'm going to a basketball game to watch basketball, not watch them dance. That's what they have cheerleaders for. Unfortunately, not trying to be, any sexist or anything, but most teams do have cheerleaders. They dance, okay. They shoot off their t-shirts and stuff like that. I don't need to watch dancing between the quarters.
If you go to a game, though, that's what you see, and it's the cheerleaders
I
doing
know,
it.
and that's
I mean, I don't. It's
yeah,
actually the drill team that's
yeah,
part of the cheerleaders, but
yeah. But I'm saying the cheerleaders seeing that, okay. I mean, for the fun aspect, yeah, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I just,
The concession
usually
stand
that's when I
break,
take a
yeah.
restroom break or whatever.
But
Is it the
ultimately,
between quarters or
you know,
half?
can we all agree there's too many commercials in pro sports. Anytime you're sitting at home watching a game, every time you turn around, it's a commercial. Exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Too many commercials, period. Like I
Yes.
literally went to the streaming
I
services to get away
am
from the commercials, and here
not
they are.
wanting
So
to see the
yeah,
dancing,
Yeah, they're
but I'd rather
just
see
as
the
bad.
dancing than commercials. Let's be honest. At least it's more entertaining than watching watching the Energizer
Yeah,
Bunny
I'll give you that.
say their line all the time, doing the same dance. At least they're doing different things.
What about the dunking? Like they used to do. Where they hit the trampoline and throw the ball. Why can't we do that during breaks?
I'll tell you
Why
why.
does it have to be dancing?
I'll tell you why. Insurance
Huh?
policies, it got skyrocketed, and so because of the insurance, they don't want to carry it. So they've actually
Hey,
stopped a lot
Brandon.
of the stuff.
Hey,
What?
Brandon. I got to go, brother. I hate to do this. I got a business call, and this could be good for all of us.
All right,
So I hate to be rude. I'm going to leave
You need to
my
stay on.
computer up, but is it okay if I leave, or do you want me to stay on?
you can leave. You can do whatever you gotta do, and if we're still on when you get back, you can come right back
Okay.
on.
Then we'll
But
pause it just in case. All right.
all right, sounds good.
Cool. Thanks. See you in a few, maybe.
See you in a few.
Yeah. No. You know what, Brandon? I never thought of that. The insurance policies, but I mean that's what I. I guess that's just
I will
old school.
tell
I like watching stuff
I
like
will
that
tell you. My
than the
son used
dancing.
to
I
play
don't
upward
know.
basketball,
No, I get
and
it.
at the end of the year, they went to this little coliseum and had an end of the year party. They had the coaches to try that trampoline jump dunk. I wasn't going to go do it, but everybody on my team wanted me to go do it. That was the most insane thing you could ever try. It. I felt like I embarrassed myself so bad, but it was actually the best time, if that makes sense. Go ahead and say it. Hold on, Corey. Go ahead and say it, Brandon. The way you look, you could not
I just,
imagine me ever
I
doing
just,
it.
it's just
The, the trampoline.
Doing what?
No, I told it quickly,
say
and
it, Brandon.
I ended
Dude,
up
you lost me.
trying
It took
the
you so long to tell the
trampoline dunk
story. You lost
thing.
me. We're going almost 2 hours.
I came very close, but it was quite interesting.
Oh, did you make it? So the answer is no.
Hey, Corey.
The answer is no.
He probably got stuck in the net. He got stuck in the net, and he just don't want to tell us.
Uh, Dio said he's still here, but he can't talk at the moment. So I'll skip Dio. I know what he said last night. He was getting mad about it. I'm actually not for it or against it. I don't have a ship in that race. Um, I think it's neat for the little girls that are trying to get into basketball and think that that's something they might want to do or like the show bringing on and realize that there actually is a future in that. Um, for me, if I start watching it, I'll get in trouble for looking. And so, I like Corey said, that's kind of my break time. Bathroom break, smoke break, whatever I need to go do. But I'm neither for it nor against it. I wish that we would focus more on the sport itself as opposed to the distractions that go along with it. Um, but for me, when it comes to basketball and stuff, uh, honestly, the NBA has not been very entertaining these last few years.
No.
And so, whatever you've got to do to get entertainment out there, I get it. However, I think it's smoke and mirrors. I think it was a distraction from everything that's going on. Last thing that before we get out of here, I want to talk about it just real quick. Tonight is Game 3 of the World Series. Uh, we're going for almost 2 hours. Um, the Blue Jays and Dodgers are tied 1-1. And interesting fact, nobody in baseball after sweeping the CS has won more than one game. So if the Blue Jays win two games and get beat 4-2, right, they will be the most successful team to face a team that has swept the CS. So the Brewers got swept by the
Well,
Dodgers, and the best to ever get out of that in the World Series is one game. And so the Blue Jays have tied the best to ever do it. Let's see if
All
they
right.
can beat the cycle and take this home in seven. I said Blue Jays in seven or Dodgers in five.
well, Brandon, you know what? I'm going to say this, and this is the only thing I got to say about this. I want Blue Jays, obviously, like most of us. Okay, the Dodgers took one at home or one at Toronto. I honestly think tonight's game is the most important game for Toronto because I think if Toronto goes into Dodger Stadium and wins the first game, they're going to be able to make it back to the home. But if they lose tonight, I have that feeling in my gut that the Dodgers take three in a row at home and the series is over.
That's kind of how I feel about it. And
But
history's honestly shown that way. But I said that going into the series that I
I
thought
tell you
Dodgers were going to
what,
win in five.
honestly,
I hate the Dodgers.
we
I
can
freaking
agree
hate the
that
Dodgers.
Me
Toronto
too.
is the best matchup for the Dodgers this year, right?
No, we cannot agree on that.
No,
Can't.
I honestly thought Seattle would have been a better matchup hitting wise against their pitching,
We're here. That's
but
where I'm going with this. And you know what?
but you know
Honestly, I believe that
we're
who
here.
pitched? Let me. Is it Scherzer pitching tonight? I give
No, I have
that
no idea.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
It's
said it right
Scherzer
one
versus
time. Can't say it
Glasnow.
again. Sir, thank you. Because you know what? He's had the experience before. Glass
Scherzer,
now is a wild card. You don't know what you're getting out of him because he doesn't stay healthy. So ultimately, I think Toronto wins tonight.
if this was 5 years ago, I'd say you're on the button because Scherzer has lost a lot when it comes to pitching, and this year did not have a great year. He had the one game he got to pitch in the playoffs. He did do good, but that wasn't against the Dodgers offense.
That's where I'm at with
So
it. I don't care about pitching. Pitching is not like it was back in the '90s and 2000s. Let's be honest.
no,
We're not seeing the Greg Maddux, the Tom Glavines, um, that Yokomoto. How do you say his name?
yeah, Yokomoto.
He uh, he pitched two complete games in the postseason. Something I haven't seen in a long time. I've not seen people pitch
Nope.
complete games. It's not like it's an everyday occurrence like it used to be. And so I don't think pitching is that big of a deal anymore like it used to be. I mean, I know pitching matters, but it doesn't when the hitters are so good. Um, I just the Dodgers have too much firepower, man. They got bats everywhere.
I am one thing I'm excited about this game is at least which he hasn't played all postseason, so hard telling how rusty he is. But Bo Bichette will be back for Toronto, but he hasn't played all postseason, so how rusty he's going to be. So you know, it's going to come down to Vlad and Kirk on the offense for Toronto. But like I said, the Dodgers they just have so much offense. I mean, and now they've got the pitching. We've seen it in the postseason. Their pitching has just been ahead of everybody else. I mean, it just so
Well, guys, it's been a great episode. We got into a lot more than what I thought we would. It's been almost 2 hour episode. Um, this episode was brought to you by Heaven Sent Hellbent Gear, hshbgear.com. Get your 15% off with promo code MARRIED and with Styles Apparel, Styles with a Z, where we keep you in the latest styles in the women's fashion. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you guys
Peace.
tomorrow and talk a little hockey and basketball. Peace.
See ya.